It goes hard, it bangs, it slaps, they sing and scream. Guess that soundtrack. Hopefully you don't cheat with the title, but yes, I'm talking about Devil May Cry, which has pretty much been my hyperfixation for the last 2 years. I definitely know my friends can't get enough of it, and neither can I. However, as much as I desperately want to review the entire series from 1 to 5 before I disintegrate, there's one thing I feel like that could be its own video, and that's talking about the soundtrack of the franchise. Listening to the DMC soundtrack is what separates the boys from the men, and also weeding out those who say that the series has great music but can only name 2 songs somehow. However, let me make this quick disclaimer. This really isn't going to be a video on how the specific composition and what instrument they use in each song. There are enough videos like that with people being shocked that guitars exist within video games, and admittedly, any real music knowledge I have comes from me playing piano for 6 years. I didn't like it. But I'm done being doppelganger and throwing shade around. This video is mainly geared towards the writing and the lyrics. So when it comes to the more instrumental tracks, I can't really go into depth about them, besides just saying that they're good and moving on.
And because this video by Amaz just came out as I was working on this, so you should go check that out if you can.
And I mainly wanted to focus on the lyrics, because I think for most people, you listen to the battle themes in game, or you look them up online and YouTube, and on first glance or first listen, you just think, oh yeah, blood, death, whatever. But on closer inspection, I believe they perfectly fit the tone that DMC strives for through lyrics alone, and for some songs, the amount of callbacks and connections to the character or moment are freaking genius. So, enough dawdling around, time to come out swinging with a banger you all know and love, Devil Trip. Eva's theme from the first game, obviously, titled Seeds of Love. Yeah, surprisingly, Eva, Dante's mom, does have a theme song, and it's a lullaby to Dante when he was a kid. This plays at the end of the first game, actually. Compared to the alarming and literal siren-like music throughout the first game, you truly are free when you're able to put the controller down and watch the credits roll and rest. The song and lyrics are about Eva watching Dante and Virgil grow up and knowing that they'll be strong. It's honestly one of my favorites. Though, when I say that, some of you might think, really? This one? Well, more specifically, there's a remix version on the HRHM album, and it has the classic style of a DMC song, which means it goes hard as fuck. Though, a weird thing about this song is that according to some sources, it's referred to as a love song for Dante and Trish, and I'm not even gonna touch that and just move on to the next game. Devil May Cry 3. This is where lyrics for the battle theme started becoming a staple, and there was a reason for that. Tatsuya Shibata, with some help from Kento Hasegawa, were the composers for the third installment. Tatsuya wanted to change the battle themes from electronic to more vocal so they would stand out more. Alright, so they've got the composition, time for the lyrics. They were written and sung by Sean Shooty H.G. McPherson. Cool name. With David Allen Baker helping for a special song I'll talk about in a minute. With DMC3, we get the Cerberus/Beowulf theme, Taste the Blood, Divine Hate, and Devils Never Cry. I'll start with the boss themes. One of them won't let you enter, and the other one wants you to leave this plane of existence, but they both share the same lyrics. There's one thing all of these tracks have in common, though. The idea is that they're told through Dante's perspective. Taking a look at the line, "One step, one breath, you're under my knife, killing slow is the way I conquer," referring to rebellion hacking and slashing through the ice and skin of the demon with Dante's playful nature. It's gonna be a long fight just to mess with the beast. God, I talk like an English teacher. I hope I'm able to keep your attention and not sound like an asshole. Anyways, the rest of the lyrics are pretty straightforward, with the song putting emphasis on how Dante will defeat these guys and they will remember every second of it. When it comes to the main battle themes, Taste the Blood and Divine Hate are fantastic songs. The funniest part about them is the different viewpoint it has towards the player, because even though I said it's mainly from Dante's POV, that's of course if you don't get your shit rocked. The second line from Taste the Blood is a perfect example of this. The flames in your eye, crush your mouth. Feel free to die when you've had enough. Useless cause is breaking your back. You'll never live when you attack. I love it when a game humbles me in a right way. Going back to Dante's mindset for this song, make your move, make your stand, make the win. Like you can. That little ha is so good. It's like the song itself is fighting and just throw out its own taunt. Especially with the follow-up verse, I see your might, it compares to something, that is, if something is nothing. I honestly didn't appreciate this song as much as I did during my first playthrough of 3, but listening to it more and more, I've definitely grown to enjoy it. The one track I've loved the moment I've heard it was Divine Hate. It has a similar vibe to Taste the Blood, but man, it just builds up with more intensity. That's what both of them do in general, this build up before the lyrics kick in. It's almost like your anger is swelling up and gonna be put to use. And I think it's cool that Divine Hate is in the second half of the game, because it really reflects how Dante is feeling towards the enemies by this point. Virgil is really starting to get on his nerves, Arkham is a bitch, and this fucking chessboard should just be smashed to pieces. Like, this might as well just apply to the player as well. The game is right. My hate for you is divine. Now, out of all of the verses, I find the last one the most interesting. Hail to a father divine, to his son the light will shine, from the angst of lost memories, a just revenge to cure misery. The main thing I see this verse doing is being a nod to Devil Trigger as an ability. Because of Rebellion being stabbed through Dante, which is just another Thursday, he was able to awaken to his Devil Trigger, and only obtained both of those because of the blood and ownership of a Father Divine, Sparta, with a just revenge to cure misery, using Devil Trigger to really give your enemies the business. And for even more advanced players around this point, this would be around the time you really start to use Devil Trigger Explosion, and on top of possibly getting good with the Royal Guard style and the Revenge meter. Now, with the special edition of 3, both of these songs are kind of different when you play as Virgil. It's mainly remixes of the original song, but his version of Divine Hate has its own beginning verse. However, by most means, you can't really hear the very first couple of lines. The power is proven to end the madness upon I take to end the savage. I personally see it being Virgil's main motivation, this never-ending quest for more power, which in turn will end his so-called madness. Speaking of there being different iterations of Divine Hate, even though it doesn't fully play in-game, the one I adore listening to is combining the main theme of the third game, Devils Never Cry, which is, and this is a hill I'm willing to die on, the best song in the entire series. Remember that other guy I briefly mentioned, David Allen Baker? He's the man who does the light chorus with Shooty, who's doing the heavier stuff, and that alone is one of the many reasons I love this song, having two different distinct people sing it. Shooty brings that devilish presence, and David matched it with the pure vocals. It's almost like the two halves of Dante, human and devil, the absolute dichotomy of his character in 3 and throughout the series. That's fucking cool! The track truly drives forth that pure unbridled rush of putting the laughter back into slaughter. Read the tears of the victim's cry, yearning more to hear the suffer of a demon as I put it under. This works so well during the first time you hear it. Dante's life was the closest it's ever been to death by that point. Reawakened with a new power that even he's surprised by. That's why it's steal a soul for a second chance, with 2 E's. This man decides to do what he does best, kill every demon in sight. Oh, I love this scene. It's all beautifully done because you only hear the first half, for it's all about his demonic powers. However, by the end of the game, when it plays again alongside Lady, a human, Dante himself begins to show real human emotion. Crying, the second lighter singer kicks in and then slowly starts singing adjacent to the heavy vocals, with one of the verses being an allusion to the final battle itself. Praise to my father, blessed by the water, black night, dark skies, the devil's cry, Dante acknowledging his lineage, the water that rushes past his feet, only for Virgil to willingly fall into the black endless abyss that's black as night, then unironically becoming a black knight himself, with the devil crying by the end. It's so fucking good! Okay, moving on. Devil May Cry 4. With this being the 4th game, there's also only 4 tracks with vocals. I'll start with the first one, which is sung by Kyrie, performed by Aubrey Ashburn. Out of the Darkness is a surname for the Order of the Sword, which, by definition, I'm not sure what kind of Bible they're using for this, but oh well. The song is about Sparta, given that's what the Order is all about. Though the next track is actually not the battle themes, but one of the boss fights. I mean, two. Or, well, three of them. Thanks, Capcom. Sworn Through the Sword is Burial's theme. And honestly, I don't really have too much to say about this one, mainly because I can't understand it. But there's really not much to pull from here anyway. The theme is mainly word art, with the focus being on his fire, check, and his sword, check. Alright then. I may not have much to say about that one, but whoo boy, the next one, HG Shooty makes his return with Lock and Load Blackened Angel Remix, which is straight up my favorite Dante battle theme. I love the idea of it by itself. It's a fusion of themes when you fight Dante in the first mission, and then Lock and Load, which is one of the battle themes he had in the very first game, and I love the fact that it's a remix. Dante by this point in his life is basically playing on New Game Plus. His story had already ended by the first game, which is the second one chronologically, but you get what I mean. He had become the strongest demon by that point from attaining the power of Sparta and beating Mundus. He was done. And if you really want to stretch it, he was 100% done by 2 when he took care of Argosax. So when 4 rolls around, Dante's at his peak by this point. He's mastered his Devil Trigger without the use of Devil Arms, mastered all 4 of his main styles from being able to officially freestyle in this game. So having the theme be a remix is perfect, for the root of said song is when he was a seasoned hunter while still throwing in that new touch that goes along with the player themselves, mixing and switching between styles non-stop. It's awesome. It all goes so hard as fuck, as it's all just a slight nod to Dante being the strongest. And yeah, due to his lifestyle, the only thing on Earth right now that could kill him is just time itself. The final song for DMC4 is kind of 2-in-1. We Shall Never Surrender is the main theme of the game, with the first half being Nero's battle theme, which is dubbed Time Has Come or Your Time Has Come. It's fittingly a direct song with its lyrics. You'll never break my faith or my stride. I'll have you choke on your own demise. I make the angels scream and the devil cry. All kick-ass lines, so much so that I really can't make any deep speculation. They're just honest verses, which is great for Nero's character in 4. He's probably the most honest dude in this series. Though the second half of the song is my favorite part, with the calmer vocals coming in, and the way I see it at least is Nero being with Kyrie. I think we all can agree that without Kyrie, Nero is a rather apathetic guy in 4 for the most part. Oh, Dante just shot your holiness. Whoa, that's crazy, I guess. I don't know. But Kyrie's in trouble. Oh, well, his time has come then. And from that second verse, we see a Nero a bit more focused and less angry. That's why the first half of the song only uses the phrases of I will, me, and so on, while the second half is we, our, and together they shall never surrender. And to slightly support this, I originally thought that the song was similar to Devils Never Cry, with having 2 singers, but no. It's all done by one guy, Jason Shyboy Arnold. Before I get to the 5th game, I'll take a quick minute to at least acknowledge DMC Devil May Cry, which is still the worst title for a game, or the reboot. I can at least say that the tracks are actually pretty good. It leans more into the heavy metal stuff than usual, but I think that's a-okay. But an aspect that I don't see many people bring up is how the game was actually the one to introduce the dynamic system. That whole thing that 5 does with the song constantly building up to the chorus because of your style meter, that was first done in the reboot. Admittedly, I can understand if most people didn't catch that because most of the tracks do just go from someone streaming to someone else screaming. And if I'm being completely honest, I didn't notice it either for most of my playthroughs. And there's really not much to talk about in terms of lyrics and the meaning behind them, but I can at least say that Tic Tac and Death Race go hard. Also, this is me well after I wrote and recorded all of this, and completely forgot about the anime and the oh-so-well-known pachinko games exclusive in Japan. That's for another time. But I can't say that the songs that spawn from these gambling machines have no right to go as hard as they do, especially Dream Out Loud. So, yeah, I'll talk about the pachinko games and Last Judgment some other time, maybe when I review 4 specifically. Devil May Cry 5. I'm going to be jumping around a bit, so let's hope you can keep up. Crimson Cloud, suitably being a tag team song by Rachel Fannin and Jeff Rona. The song basically just spoils V's character, if you pay attention to the lyrics, that is. Like the line, split myself into two, death is all around me, summoning the power, drag myself through pain. Come on. Though my favorite part to interpret is the chorus itself. Savior, bloodstain, hellfire, shadow.
Rage, fury, irritation, humiliation.
Now, I think it is safe to assume that each word represents one of our playable characters. Working backwards, the shadow is V. He even calls himself a shadow of his former self. Hellfire would be that of Virgil, specifically more akin to Urizen, due to the destruction he brought upon Redgrave. Now, the Bloodstain and Savior part can either be Dante or Nero. Bloodstain, in a way, being another term for deadweight, which is what happens to Nero against Urizen for parts of the game. But the same can be said for Dante, because, ooh, a month coma really does something for your career. And the Savior can be from when they saved each other, which I think is the perfect word to use because they ended up being a real savior towards each other, unlike the T-posing statue that they fought in Fortuna. And the final note being that the makers said that the song is more towards the player as they truly fight for their lives against these demons. And a fun little fact, the title of the song comes from when they saw a scene where V is fighting against a dark red cloud as the backdrop. And to be blunt, I have no idea what seed that they're referring to, unless it's this one? But he's not really fighting, so I guess maybe some of the stages in Bloody Palace? I'm not sure. Whatever. Moving on. Subhuman, Dante's battle theme, written by Cody Matthew Johnson with Michael Barr on vocals. And I'm gonna get to it. It's his weakest battle theme. I don't hate it, far from it, but I can understand from other fans that it's a bit too heavy for Dante. However, in a backwards way, this works. The point of Subhuman is Dante now fully embracing his demon half. Earlier I said that 4 is him in his prime, and that still holds true until Urizen exists. So Dante has to prove himself again by becoming an even more powerful demon. A devil that doesn't even bother to sit on the throne, but one to destroy it. That last and most powerful demon within the most bottom depths of hell. Someone in something that is truly subhuman. Though, if I can draw attention to the immediate next line, I must not forget that I have bled. This tells me that even though Dante has unlocked a new powerful devil trigger, unlike his brother when he transformed into Urizen, he didn't lose himself. Deep down, Dante is still part human and has always accepted it. And now we get to the new hot shots in Music Town, all of which have been composed and written and sung by the duo of Casey and Ali Edwards, along with Victor Borba. Devil Trigger, Nero's theme within DMC5. A song that took the world by surprise and no one will ever forget it. And without a doubt, yeah, this song is an absolute banger. Already from the get-go, I love how relatively different it is from Your Time Has Come, having it not be as dark as you could say with the tone and lyrics, giving the feeling that Nero isn't as aggressive as he used to be, as in he's not immediately using violence or being rude as an answer. But that doesn't mean he's a completely different character. Lyrics such as, "I'm a wildfire you won't tame, igniting my temper can't put out the flame," certainly reminds you that he's still a dude that slays demons within a heartbeat and with one bullet. Though, my favorite part about the whole song is the very first line. Here's a little pop quiz for you Devil Trigger aficionados. What's the very first lyric to the song? Don't worry, it's multiple choice. You have an answer? It was B. I'll endure the exile. What I love about this is that it's an actual line Nero has said before, and that was done when he unlocked his Devil Trigger within DMC4. Like Dante's song, it's an overall message of Nero fully embracing and learning how to use his heritage and powers to its full extent. The game is mostly his story, that's why there's a bunch of Devil Trigger remixes in the game, along with Silver Bullet. That's why the line, "Embrace the darkness that's within me," is there. Great song. But Nero wouldn't be here if a certain katana-wielding demon didn't become a teenage dad. Virgil, and his song, "Bury the Light." You all know this song. When I really took a look at the lyrics, it shocked me from how many references and callbacks this one has. It probably has the most, and that's most likely due to Virgil being Casey Edwards' favorite character in the series. Makes sense to give your favorite boy justice. And because of the amount of allusions made, I cannot cover them all. I know that sounds like a bit of a cop-out, what I've kind of been doing already, but there's a number of reasons for that. One, it's the longest fucking song in the series, and two, Casey Edwards has a stream, which I'll link below, where he goes over every single lyric and their true meaning. So who else to say what means what than the dude who actually wrote it? But I'll still give my 2 cents. Right out the gate, immortal temptation takes over my mind, condemned, falling weak on my knees, summon the strength of mayhem. The whole verse is a nod to Virgil's character and his motivation, the constant desire for more power, and that so-called power and strength he summoned. The price he paid for it was his humanity and mayhem across the city. And the famous quote that follows up with it, this is also a line that has been said in the franchise. Not by Virgil though, by Arkham in the third game, alluding that danger is coming. Well, in this case, Virgil is the danger. Now, admittedly, I'm going to skip quite a bit to get to the part I think is the most interesting and has many ways you can interpret. Dreams of the Black Throne I keep on repeat, a Delaric of dark summons from the ashes, a puppet master congregates all the masses, pulling strings, twisting minds as blades hit, you want this power, then come try and take it. What I imagine is Virgil's quick run-in with Mundus by the end of the third game. Virgil's goal is to gain as much power as possible, and what better challenge to that goal than to take on the king of the underworld, you know, the demon who sat on his throne, all while being lost in the underworld, which is what Delaric means, someone without a real home, and quite frankly, the best way to describe Mundus is a puppet master, as he manipulates everything and everyone. Trish, Griffin, the marionettes themselves, all while he pulls strings and twisting Virgil's mind when he's Nilo Angelo to clash and slay Dante. That's when Mundus warns Virgil when he tries to fight him. So if he wants this power, then come try and take it. Now, even though I went on that whole spiel, that last line by Casey's meaning is actually just Virgil doing Virgil things as the final boss to Dante. And what does bury the light even mean? That specific part is meant to be a reflection of Nero's theme. Embrace the darkness, bury the light. Nero accepts his demonic powers while Virgil, as usual, rejects his humanity. And with that, we reach the final song, the main theme of DMC5, Legacy. As opposed to all of the rock and roll, metal, punk, and anything in between, Legacy is a tranquil, classical song. The entire song is about the Sparta family in general, which has always been a huge theme of the series. Family and learning how to properly continue the name, while still giving yourself purpose. The song can actually be applied to any of the family members, Dante, Virgil, Nero. I personally think it favors Nero, primarily because the game is about him, and because of a particular line, "You will rise again." I don't even need to explain why that fits him so well with the climax of 5, and that scene is beautiful. And with all of that, that is it. Why Devil May Cry's soundtrack is genius. The English lesson is over. You can probably tell I am really tired. I truly thank the 6 of you that have stuck around for this long. Seriously, thank you. Because, I'm doing this at like 6 in the morning, and I am really tired. But if there's any specific song or lyric you like from Devil May Cry, let me know in the comments below. It'll be neat to see what other people think because, I think this is just a fun thing where, you just look at the songs and it's like, yep, blood, death, killing, sword slashing, all that fun stuff. Then when you really look at it, it's just like, oh damn, some of this shit is kind of depressing, especially with like Bury the Light. So yeah, I want to know what you guys think and how you interpret some of the songs and everything. Or maybe this entire video is just me talking out of my ass, like I usually do. But hey, who knows? But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. You know what to do with all the links that I provide and everything the source. Thank you for watching. That's greatly appreciated, of course. Have a great day, have a great night, and everything else, you know what to do.